guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. Today we're going to take a look at this guy, the big boy himself, TEQ Ultimate Gohan. This is far and away one of the strongest releases Dokkan has ever put out. This guy is able to compete in top tier content even today, even without a 200% leader, over 2 years after his release, and he is still an incredible option. I would attribute this character, and also I think Int Janemba is another big offender as well. Though Int Janemba and this guy are the reason that Dokkan, I feel like, is usually very iffy with how they handle guard these days, right? They don't typically just give characters guard for free. It's pretty much always gated behind something, right? LR Vegeta and Trunks, best unit in the game, have guard. They gotta be in slot 1. LR Carnival Goku, you know, I think he's the second best unit in the game. He has to be above 60% HP or have revived in order to have unconditional guard. After this guy, Dokkan, they do not just go crazy with characters with guard anymore. This guy and Int Janemba, I feel like in the devs' minds, just based off of how they've operated with guard since this guy and Int Janemba have run around, they don't do that anymore. I don't think they liked how long those characters were dominant. Int Janemba was like the best TUR or like right up there for a long time. Guard can be so nasty on the right character in the right situation. Now, TEQ Gohan, right, has definitely, he has aged a bit, right? Damage-wise, he's not competing with these big guns. I mean, if you stack up a million times with this guy and then transform towards the end of the fight, he could do, like, okay-ish damage. But this guy is not, you're not using him for damage. One thing about TEQ Ultimate Gohan we should address, too, his link set. When this guy dropped, his link set was not ideal. They have since turned, you know, a link like All in the Family, 20% defense, and Saiyan lineage right here into mega top tier links, right? So this guy's link set is not the issue it was previously. Also keep in mind that's Dragon Ball Superhero Gohan right there. The chances that Beast Gohan or Ultimate Gohan from the movie having Saiyan lineage, I would say, are pretty high. So we do want to keep that in mind. But this guy is incredible. Now, the 200% leader skill we're going to look at him here on is Powerful Comeback. This is not the best team to make TEQ Ultimate Gohan look crazy, but, I mean, we could still get him good stats, right? Because he does stack. TEQ Ultimate Gohan greatly stacks attack and defense with his super attack, and then he has unconditional guard both before and after his transformation, right? Again, I think after they did that, Dokkan realized, yeah, we don't want to do that BS anymore. Okay, this is a pretty horrible first, I mean, this is a good rotation in terms of, like, linking partners with STR Ultimate Gohan. We're getting the support, and we're going to be able to get an attack right here. But TEQ Ultimate Gohan, in base, he needs to get hit first. Actually, I think he could dodge. Because he gets, okay, so Gohan gets 40% attack within the same turn when guard is activated. That means if he would dodge an attack, that would still activate that buff. It's like that for Int Janemba and TEQ Great Ape Vegeta as well. When it says when guard is activated, if they dodge, that counts, right? So they would get that. So that's interesting to note. But Gohan does have to get hit first in order to get the, you know, the nice damage. We're unfortunately not going to get that right here. He's at 200k. Oh, well, we're going to get the 200k cord right here, but he's at 200k defense right here at the start of turn. Not really too sure what to do here. I guess we'll just finish up this run. This was, you know, I jumped into an event. We started out in slot 7. He's not going to get hit before, you know, the attack goes off. We do have 2 support units right here. Keep that in mind. I guess we'll just go into one of these events where we could just let Gohan stack up for a while. We'll just get a bunch of rotations with him. Again, keep in mind, in terms of, like, raw numbers for this guy, like, he's not going to be the greatest in terms of damage. See, there's his attack buff right there. And, you know, in terms of just, like, making him look pretty, this team is really not ideal for that. But, you know, I have already, you know, begun working on my, you know, no item sweep of all the red zone stages. I do already have the Wicked Bloodline edition uploaded for this Powerful Comeback team. That's already uploaded on the channel, right? And TEQ Ultimate Gohan and STR Ultimate Gohan do work in a lot of those. I probably will give STR Ultimate Gohan also his own 200% video. Because these Carnival LR units giving a category 200% is pretty useful because it actually is going to give a lot of characters 200% leader skills that did not previously have them, right? So we'll, during the, you know, the end of this celebration, there's a number of characters I'd like to hit for 200% videos. Okay, let's go into an event where we can just go ahead and stack up for a while with Ultimate Gohan, right? Let's let him build up. We'll do his transformation on like turn 10 or something like that, and just see like what high stats he can get up to. But TEQ Ultimate Gohan, easily one of the best aging characters ever. Unconditional guard plus greatly stacking attack and defense is a disgusting combo that makes him an absolute beast, even today, 2 years after his release. Alright guys, here we are, 2 for 2 for getting TEQ Gohan in slot 7, which is, of course, something we really would not want with this character, right? Considering the fact that he does stack up, right? At this point, you definitely want to give this guy full additionals and try and have him stack up as much as possible. Pretty poor opening rotation right here, but we'll get SC Ultimate Gohan next to him. We'll get TEQ Gohan stacking up for quite a bit right here, and then we'll see what our boys can be able to do. Okay, pretty poor rotation in terms of key as well, but I came prepared. Let's just pop that shoe at him right there. So let me get some stacks in for Gohan. I might come back maybe in like turn 7 or so, something like that. Just, I don't know, turn 7, turn 9. Just come back in a few turns. What do we get right here? 3.42. So remember, Gohan does get quite a bit of extra damage when he gets that either the first attack on him, or he, you know, 3 dodges it or something like that, right? Because remember, again, the dodge does count as guard activated. But we want to stack up with him for a little bit, and then we'll transform with him. Remember, you could transform with TEQ Gohan. Once you hit turn 5, you could transform with him. Now, these days, I don't really find myself almost ever transforming with him. I feel like, you know, I just want to get him to, like, until he would take, like, double-digit damage from super attacks or something like that. This guy's role for me is never damage. It's never really my intention. So I don't often transform with him unless it's, you know, maybe to try and finish the boss off on that turn. Once you transform with him, that's where he potentially could have decent damage, right? Because, you know, TEQ Ultimate Gohan, once he actually, you know, is in the Ultimate Gohan state, at that point you can stack, at that point he gets super effective against all types if the enemy has, you know, more than 58% HP, and then of course he also gets basically a bigger attack buff. Okay, so we get this rotation again. Unfortunately, though, we're not going to see the enemy attack us first. We're up to 312k defense. Remember, one of the big things with this guy is that he is just going to stack up like crazy. Both his damage and his defense really will just skyrocket as he's getting more and more super attacks, to the point where his defense gets so high that, you know, along with his guard, he is really able to eat these hits from some of the most nastiest bosses in this game, right? Are not really able to slow this guy down. Red Zone Broly, right? Like, we could get this guy to be able to survive Cell Max super attacks, even though typically you don't have too much time to stack up against Cell Max, right? The longer fights go on, the stronger this guy gets, right? If there's any type of fight that's going to go on for a super long time, just remember that TEQ Ultimate Gohan is going to be a god in it. Alright, let's take a look, I guess, on this next turn. Let's just see what our defense is looking like, and then I think we just might skip ahead a little bit, and then again, we'll transform with him, we'll see what his damage can be. But remember, this is a character who, the way he's constructed right now, is still good in all content, and because of the fact that he's guarding, in order for Dokkan to, like, really age him out, like, they really need to make it to where characters, you know, are having, like, 700, 800k defense turn 1, right? Because no matter what, TEQ Gohan is guarding, right? So it's like, in order to age this guy out to where he's a complete 0, they would have to do some crazy things with power creep on the enemies. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, we're up to 478 right there. One other thing, too, in terms of the powerful comeback team, which is actually very handy for us, is this Goku and Vegeta right here. Remember, they have Saiyan lineage as well, which could certainly help the powerful comeback team quite a bit right there. Okay, so let's see this turn, and then we'll come back in a few turns. We'll sort of see what damage TEQ Gohan is up to, what defensive level he's on, and we'll go ahead and do the transformation. TEQ Gohan, he had one of the... Oh, our defense was lowered, too. I forgot, like... Yeah, okay, we saw his defensive stat right there, but that was lowered because this Gohan keeps supering us. TEQ Gohan has one of the most ridiculously long active skills. He was one of the first active skills I think was super, super long, right? Once they're sort of like, you know, preparing to give us the active skill skip, right? Which is really so... Like, I'm glad they gave us the active skill skip because that's made them not care about making these animations mega long, right? Just the fact that you have the option to skip, which is pretty good. Okay, we'll come back in a couple turns here and see what Gohan is up to. Sheesh, I just want to show, here we are, we're on turn 9, and this boy is at 728k defense already. You know, I would just like to point out, right, turn 9, do you guys get to turn 9 against Red Zone Omega, Red Zone Broly, and these bosses? Yes. Yes, you do. And we're just, casual 700k defense with guard. Right? Like, what a... Again, you blame this guy and Int Janemba. These are the two offenders for why guard is... Dokkan is so cautious with how they give guard out to characters. You blame this piece of shit right here. He's too good. They made him, he's too strong, he's too good. He is the reason why these guard characters like LR Graded Vegeta tend to be very weird in their design. It's definitely TEQ Gohan and Int Janemba's fault, for sure. Alright guys, here we are. Just casual 800k defense, turn 11. Again, I would argue turn 11 is still pretty realistic for the way tough content is structured these days. Not like a far stretch or a reach or anything like that at all. Let's go ahead and transform with TEQ Gohan. Now, again, there's a couple of things we want to keep in mind with TEQ Gohan once we transform. He no longer is stacking at this point, right? So you do want to make sure that you're comfortable with this defensive level before you activate this transformation against one of these really tough bosses. Let's go ahead and pop this right here. You gotta love that. Oh, that's the good stuff right there. Such a goated animation. They cut quite a bit out of that too. Like that could keep, like if the active skill skipped like two, there's more they could have gotten into that. Okay, so we're at 884. Now, once we turn into TEQ Ultimate Gohan, he has a very similar ability to STR Ize Namek Goku, actually, where he has to get hit once. Well, actually, it's the same wording when guard is activated. So if we dodge, it activates the buff, right? He just basically needs an attack directed at him. And then he gets 58% attack for the rest of the battle. That's where a lot of his big damage comes in, you know, combined with the 100. Dude, he has 158% attack and defense at the start of turn. That's still solid. 158%? Like, that's still solid. The difference between this guy and, like, a lot of modern characters, right, is that, like, you know, a modern character would be, like, 158% right there. They'd get, like, you know, 50% on super attack, and then they'd also get, like, the 58% attack when guard is activated, right? That's how they, you know, sort of, like, you know, increase power creep and stuff like that. This guy, he also, again, is super effective against all types when facing one enemy whose HP's 58% or more, or if there is a Buu Saga category enemy. We are fighting Buu Saga category enemies, so Gohan will be super effective against all types. Let's just go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and drop the hammer on. We'll just attack this Gohan. We'll see his full animation on the next run right here. All right, so again, Videl should proc Gohan's big attack buff right here. Okay, cool. So Gohan will go ahead and guard, and then, you know, now he's going to have very, very nice damage. Let's see what we get up to. 8.82. Remember, on this rotation, he is super effective against all types. 9.3 right there. Gohan does greatly raise attack for one turn. It's a 50% buff on his super attack effect. Gohan does also have a medium chance to stun, but it's worthless. You can't transform with this guy until you get to turn 5, so that won't do anything. If there's some characters who have like weird abilities like that, where it's like, you know, why is this character, you know, guarding, or no, okay, some of these characters have like guaranteed stun and these active skills that you're not gonna get for 500 turns, right? LR Fusion, Zamasu, and LR Goku and Vegeta, they both have active skills you can't hit until like turn 7 that guaranteed stun. So I mean, perhaps one day we'll get like a long event where you could stun or seal. Like, people always say, like, why don't they allow that? Because that would make the fights piss easy. If you could stun or seal, these bosses are a joke, right? Like, people want to talk about, oh, the old days of strategy and stuff like that. It's like, dude, if they're gonna let us stun and seal, like, do you know how much stronger they're gonna make the bosses to balance that out? Like, that's the reason. But if we're gonna get a long fight, right, where we could stun or seal or something like that, this Gohan being a guarding, stacking character that you could transform into very late, and then he potentially could stun as well, it's like, Jesus, does this guy do enough? Oh, his link set too after transformation. We have Infighter, All in the Family, Saiyan Warrior Race, Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, Power Bestowed by God, and Fierce Battle. So solid. Looking at this and how he's constructed, really, the link I would really like him to not have is Power Bestowed by God. Vegito is completely dead in Dokkan. You know, if Vegito is around, Power Bestowed by God is a much better link, right? You know, a dominant best unit in the game, Super Vegito from the Buu Saga, is very realistic, though. There's still animations they could take from Kakarot and stuff like that. It's definitely something we could see. But right now, Power Bestowed by God, unless we're going to do, like, the double Ultimate Gohan rotation, that really is pretty much just, like, a dead link on him. And then Infighter, I'm also not the biggest fan of. But Infighter, that's actually another link that Physical Super Vegito has, does he not? So, you know, maybe that easy Physical Super Vegito, and then, you know, perhaps we get, like, another, like, either 200% lead, you know, Super Vegito from the Buu Saga, or like another Super Vegito LR. You know, remember Super Vegito is like the most popular Dragon Ball character, period, or something like that. So, you know, want to keep that in mind, that he's going to be getting a lot more characters in the future. All right, so let's go ahead and see the damage we'll get on this turn. Again, remember, there's one enemy who's above 58% HP, so Gohan is going to be super effective against all types. But he would be against a Buu Saga category enemy anyway. So, I mean, here we go. I feel like this was a pretty good display of what this TEQ Ultimate Gohan can do under a 200% leader skill. This guy is vicious, right? He's one of the best units in the game still, right? If I don't like, okay, like, let's rank the top 50 units in the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, I don't really like doing that too often. I did it for Namek Goku. If I had to do it for this Gohan, though, like, he still would probably be in, like, my top 20 or something like that, dude. Like, this character, who released over 2 years ago, still in my top 20. If you ever feel stupid, if you ever, you know, you're walking outside and you trip or something like that, or, you know, you lose your wallet, you know, if you ever feel dumb, just remember that there were morons who said this TEQ Gohan was not that good on release. There were people that said that this Gohan was bad. Okay, so no matter what, you're not doing shit as dumb as that. Because this guy, 2.5 years later, basically, well, it's not quite 2.5, but we're getting there. I don't know, it's basically two years, I guess. But this guy is still insane, right? Like, you go into these fights, these bosses that are doing 1.5 million damage super attacks, nearly nothing can survive these except for a lot of the most recent powerful LRs and 200% Dokkan Fest leaders. And then you just got this cocksucking TEQ Ultimate Gohan from 100 years ago destroying the hardest bosses in the game. These bosses are designed to kick your teeth in so that you then have to spend money and summon for the new shiny characters. That's what the point of these Red Zone bosses are. And then we have TEQ Ultimate Gohan, who's just like, yo, man, 2 years, who cares? I'm still God. Right, so let me know what you guys think of our Lord and Savior TEQ Ultimate Gohan. What an absolute fiend this guy still is, even after 2 years. I love him. I love him. I love you, TEQ Gohan. I love you. Thanks, guys, for watching. Let's sing our praises for the God of Dokkan, and I'll catch y'all next time.